Three things are guaranteed in this world: death, taxes, and your favorite TV show is going to get cancelled. These shows got axed way too soon and deserve a second chance. If you ever watched Flight of the Conchords, you know that Rhys Darby is a welcome addition to just about any project, and he's the ideal person to lead the cast of Our Flag Means Death, a pirate comedy created by David Jenkins. Darby's character, Stede Bonnet, was a real historical figure known as the Gentleman Pirate, and like his real historical counterpart, Darby Stede is endearingly bad at running a crew of violent, pilfering pirates.
Surrender! You've no chance of escape! Yeah, that was a warning shot!
Also, like the real Stede, the on-screen Stede ends up surrendering his ship, Revenge, to the infamous pirate Blackbeard, played on the show by Taika Waititi.
Oh, yeah! Woo! Love it, one on Blackbeard!
Our Flag Means Death is a hilarious, heartfelt, and delightful series, but unfortunately, the powers that be at HBO decided to end the show's voyage after 2 seasons on its proprietary streamer, HBO Max. Jenkins himself said he planned for the show to span 3 seasons, and the story does go unfinished after the Season 2 finale, so maybe we'll see the Revenge sail again eventually. The title GLOW is actually an acronym. It stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the organization that aspiring actor Ruth Wilder discovers when she needs to make some money after a bunch of unsuccessful auditions.
How much acting will there be on this show?
As opposed to what?
Hair pulling?
You don't like wrestling?
Alongside her friend-turned-foe, Debbie Egan, Ruth and a handful of other girls join the League, which is helmed by director Sam Sylvia, a blunt and sarcastic guy with a vision of an all-ladies wrestling troupe that he hopes will become a major promotion. There are a lot of great things to be said about GLOW, but in terms of its cancellation, the circumstances were pretty awful. GLOW was renewed for a 4th and final season in 2019, after struggling to even make it to that point. It never made huge inroads with viewers, despite critical acclaim and a cult following, but thanks to COVID-19, Netflix simply cancelled the seemingly guaranteed 4th season before it could even be made. Because of that, Season 3 ends on an open-ended note. Maybe one day, someone will give GLOW another shot in the ring. Amazon Prime's adaptation of A League of Their Own had a lot going for it when it premiered in 2022. Created by Will Graham and Abby Jacobson, the TV series presents a new take on the familiar territory trod by the movie starring Tom Hanks and Geena Davis. This version of A League of Their Own is, unsurprisingly, quite a bit more modern than its predecessor. For starters, it's an unabashedly queer show. Rosie O'Donnell, who starred in the original film, is on hand as the owner of a secret gay bar, and Nick Offerman has a delightful guest arc as the team's coach. But unfortunately, the show struck out in 2023 after it was renewed for a short 2nd and final season. Thanks to its winning cast and modernized story, A League of Their Own definitely deserves another swing. Netflix's 1899 was a moody, fascinating, and gorgeously conceived mystery box show that only ran for 1 season, so fans didn't even get to see how it ended. During its first season, we meet passengers aboard a steamship, which leaves England to bring everyone on board to New York City in 1899. While on board, one passenger starts having visions, and things get even stranger when their ship starts responding to distress calls from one of its sister ships, the Prometheus. There's one problem: the Prometheus disappeared at sea 4 months earlier. Without getting directly into spoilers, 1899 ends on a massive cliffhanger, making it downright infuriating that Netflix sank this ship after just a single season in 2022. It might not have been the most popular show on the streamer, but 1899 definitely developed a cult following that would happily jump on board if Netflix decided to bring it back in any form. Created by Brian Fuller and based on the books by Thomas Harris, Hannibal, which aired on NBC for 3 seasons, presented yet another spin on a familiar character. The show's protagonist, Will Graham, special investigator for the FBI, forges an unexpected connection with forensic psychiatrist and noted serial killer Dr. Hannibal Lecter, played perfectly by Mads Mikkelsen.
I'm very careful about what I put into my body, which means I end up preparing most meals myself.
Hannibal was cancelled in 2015 after just 3 seasons, and fans have been begging for a continuation of this story for quite some time. Nicholson has dropped hints about a possible Hannibal reboot or revival over the years, but nothing's come from his comments so far. Still, we can't rule out the possibility that Hannibal's story will continue somehow. There are 2 shows by Brian Fuller on this list, and the second is Pushing Daisies. This delightful series is led by Lee Pace as Ned, a baker specializing in pies who's born with the ability to raise the dead with a single touch. Here's the problem: if Ned touches whatever he just revived for a second time, it dies again, this time for good, as he learns when he brings his mother back to life as a child until she kisses him goodnight.
And he learned it in the most unfortunate way.
As an adult, Ned runs his pie shop by day and works with a private investigator named Emerson Codd by night. Ned revives murder victims, Emerson asks who killed them, and the 2 men split whatever reward money is available. A major snag arises when Ned finds out that his childhood sweetheart, Charlotte, was killed. He brings her back to life, but then he can never, ever touch her safely again. While this sounds like a somewhat dark story, the bright, cheery visuals, quirky performances, and quick-witted dialogue keeps Pushing Daisies light and sunny somehow. The series was cancelled after just 2 seasons, but if any show has a fanbase clamoring for a comeback, it's Pushing Daisies. Very few single-season TV shows have as large of a cult following as Freaks and Geeks, the high school comedy created by Paul Feig and produced by Judd Apatow that produced a whole bunch of future Hollywood heavyweights. The show splits into 2 as it follows one group of freaks and one group of geeks at a high school in Michigan. Freaks and Geeks was basically a breeding ground for major industry players. If there ever is a reboot, it might be tough to get big stars like Jason Segel, Seth Rogen, Linda Cardellini, and Busy Phillips together, but they'd probably be delighted to return to their first big playground. Ask pretty much any TV fan which show they'd love to see get a big, flashy reboot, and they'll probably name-drop Freaks and Geeks. Call it irony if you want, but 2022's reboot will probably never get a reboot. The show followed the cast of long-dormant hit sitcom Step Right Up, years after the first iteration of the show ended. Screenwriter Hannah Corman gets to deal with Hulu in a very meta touch to revive it.
I don't know, it might be too edgy for you.
You're talking to the guy who greenlit the 5th season of Handmaid's Tale.
So brave, so brave.
Unfortunately, Hannah has to work with the show's original creator, Gordon, who just so happens to be her estranged father. The 2 clash constantly, and when all the actors return to their roles, they have to find a way to settle into their familiar rhythms again. Despite the fact that this show was helmed by Modern Family creator Stephen Levitan and featured a uniformly excellent cast, it was still cancelled by Hulu after 1 season. You know what you need to do, Hulu? Reboot. Created by Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt veteran Meredith Scardino and overseen by executive producers Tina Fey and Robert Carlock, Girls 5 Ever is a lightning-fast and surprisingly funny show that got cancelled twice. The premise is, years after Dawn, Gloria, Summer, and Wiki stop performing as the pop group Girls 5 Ever, they hear their song Famous 5 Ever sampled on a new rapper's song, and they decide to seize the moment and start performing together again. Also, yes, that's only 4 names. The 5th member of Girls 5 Ever, Ashley, died in some sort of incident involving magicians and a swimming pool.
And even though Ashley lost her battle with the infinity pool, we still had our Dawaz at Fallon.
Ash was probably watching from above.
Or below.
Girls 5 Ever spent its first 2 seasons on Peacock, got cancelled, and moved to Netflix for its 3rd season, at which point it was cancelled again, potentially for good this time. That's a shame because there's no question that this show should make a triumphant return. Like A League of Their Own, the Hulu series High Fidelity presented a new spin on a beloved movie and brought a familiar story into current times. Rob, the protagonist of the movie played by John Cusack, is now Rob, played by Zoe Kravitz, who runs a record store and can't seem to stop being unlucky in love. The girl Rob's store, Championship Vinyl, is located in the Crown Heights neighborhood of Brooklyn, and with Rob's friends by her side, she tries to figure out where some of her past relationships went wrong. Rob loves a top 5 list like her big screen predecessor, and makes a list of her top 5 worst heartbreaks.
Number 4 on the top 5 heartbreak list is Justin Kitt. Justin was an odd choice.
This version of High Fidelity is charming, beautifully led by Kravitz, and stocked with great supporting and guest stars. Sadly, Hulu pulled the plug on this show after one season in 2020. And in 2024, Kravitz made sure to call out the network for canceling one of their only shows led by a woman of color. Talk about a record scratch. Apple TV Plus's incredibly inventive comedy series Schmigadoon premiered in 2021, led by Keegan-Michael Key and Cicely Strong as New York City doctors Josh Skinner and Melissa Gimbel, who decide they need a vacation to spice up their relationship. When they stumble into a small hamlet where everyone sings, they realize they've dropped into a full-fledged golden age musical.
We're in an actual musical.
Please, God, no.
Despite their initial reluctance, Melissa and Josh find themselves consumed by the world they've discovered, and their time in the town of Schmigadoon does help them improve their relationship. Season 2 of the series switches up the musical time frame with the subtitle Schmicago, which Josh and Melissa find when bored of their New York lives. They go looking for Schmigadoon again and find something completely different. Schmicago obviously references the famous musical Chicago, but you can also find clever references to Company, Cabaret, and Sweeney Todd. The creators said that a third season would have shifted focus to musicals like Cats and The Phantom of the Opera, and would be called Into the Schmoods, so someone needs to make that into a reality. At first glance, Happy Endings seems like another take on Friends, but it's a weirder, darker, and often funnier version of an ensemble comedy that's definitely worth checking out. The entire series opens when Alex leaves her fiancé Dave at the altar for a guy wearing rollerblades. But when she later admits that she just got cold feet and barely even knew the rollerblade guy, the couple's friends are forced to split their allegiances. As the show continues, Dave and Alex make up and the gang gets back together, which gives the series the opportunity to put them in all sorts of increasingly hilarious situations. It's a lot like New Girl, and we're not just saying that because of Damon Wayans Jr. So if you like that show, you'll be in good hands with this one.
What about our cleanse? I've had pure evil coming out of both ends of my body for 3 weeks, and you're drinking vodka?
Happy Endings got cancelled without a real ending after its abbreviated third season. And even though the cast reunited for a one-off special over Zoom during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, it's not the same as a real fourth season. If the cast is up for another round, fans of this quirky, charming series would love to see it get an actual happy ending.